Hey guys, had a snow day, not able to go to work or do anything at work. So these guys were out snowboarding around the cul-de-sac, tied behind a truck, and I was inside playing Warmachine, and I felt better about it. It's sad, but I'd rather be playing Warmachine than going out and doing crazy things, which I went out and did crazy things too. Ran around the whole cul-de-sac with my dogs, rolled around in the snow, uh, tried to like it's really fun playing hide and go seek with them. Like they as soon as they don't see you, you just drop down into the snow and you sink down about 2 feet into the snow and they can't see you anymore. And then they start looking all over the place for you, and you can hear them, and it's hilarious. But got a great game, turned out fantastic. This is going to be a long cast because there's so many details, and I'm going to try not to miss any of them. It's Ashlynn in Llaese Resistance. She's got trenchers with max rockets, no UA. And then the Storm Lances, and there's the Storm Lances. Those are her units that she brought her two choices. Got double Freebooter, got a Toro, and then got Devil Dogs back there. And then he's got a smattering of solos, which there will be plenty of times in this game for me to show you which ones. It's Mirage. He's rolling the Cloud Wall. And I've got a Ossyan, double men, Invictors, Sentinels, Trident, Hypnos, double Harpy. This is a fan-submitted list. I like the concept of it, so I kind of wanted to put it on a table. I don't really like this matchup, and the fan that submitted it doesn't really like this matchup either. If this was a two-list pairing and there was a Cloud Wall in there, and this has no Cloud Wall answers built into it, Linus and Edria is a hard consideration depending on what the other list is in my pairing. But this is how things go. I brought one list. I said this is what I was going to play. And he's like, oh, I'm sorry, I'm playing Ashlynn because that was my one list I brought to play too. And we're like, well, whatever. Let's see what happens. Basic plan for this game is I know Cloud Walls only move up 3 inches. And that's because they go 6 inches forward and then they repo 3 inches back. So the actual the actual clouds themselves are only going 3 inches forward. And you can actually make things difficult for them, make things difficult on their clock, and you can start scoring on scenario with how live scenario is outside of their cloud wall. So that is my plan for this game. I'm going to try and get some units around the sides of the cloud wall, and I'm going to try and get Hypnos to a spot where he can either do some great work, kill solos so he can't counter score, or take out trenchers, depending on how the situation works. So that's my rough plan for the game. Try and get my guns around the side of his cloud wall because Ossyan's feat needs enemy models to be in control range. He doesn't need his own models to be in control range. And Ossyan and my jacks and stuff are going to kind of barrier off right in here. And I'm hoping to use this trench to good effect. That is the plan. He has Anastasia, so I need every turn to not get screwed by Anastasia where she just wrecks Invictors or something and just is super, super annoying. So that's my plan. The Ashlynn opponent unfortunately goes first. I would really like to go first, but he ends up going first. He puts down his clouds. The reason why, there was a debate, the reason why he put down his clouds first turn was because my assault shots from the Invictors could potentially kill trenchers if he moved up any farther than the clouds that were already there. So I was like, well, if I'm going to be in your range anyways, I might as well just put down clouds. Because with the assaults and the charging and quicken, which I'm not really, I might be able to run Hypnos there and get it over to him. Maybe with Trident porting him over as well. But yeah, they can assault shoot 24 inches with their mini feet. And that's how that works. He's got his Storm Lances across from my Trident because that's where he feels like he wants the armor cracking. And he's got the Devil Dogs to throw nets on my Sentinels outside of mini feed turn, and he just basically wants to try and shoot them to death if he can, which I have lots of tools to try and fight against. So yeah, my turn. Basic plan for my turn is get around the sides of the board with my Invictors. They're all facing this way and facing this way and hidden behind the Trident, so really only Anastasia can threaten them. And if Anastasia wants to come out and throw a knife into the Trident, cool, brah. I'm down for that. And then I have my Sentinels in a very weird formation because unfortunately I've played Sentinels into the Thorn Gun Mages before. My opponent thinks it is very funny to light my Sentinels on fire, 6 of them, and not do any damage to trigger Vengeance, and repo away to safety and laugh as like 5 or 6 Sentinels burn to death. That's a, you know, that's a good time for him. not for my Elvish Sentinels, but good time for him. So I'm going to try and defense skew. I got to project some threat. I have to go forward. I could sit in the trench, but then I'm just worried. I mean, I want him to have to consider me, him accidentally damaging a Sentinel and walking 10 into the cloud wall and starting to beat up on him. I want him to have to consider that, so I want to project some threat. I have this V formation so that even if he does hit all my Sentinels, he's only getting 5 Sentinels, and one of them is a flag that I don't care about. So 4 meaningful Sentinels could die instead of 6. And I still project lots of threat with all my Sentinels here. These Sentinels have Quicken on them, and they have the +2 from the Artificer, so they are defense 16. The Thorn Gun Mages are Rat 7 with Llaese Resistance, or Ashlynn's Veteran Leader. They go to Rat 8. He hits 3 Sentinels with his 6 shots, which is, you know, it's about average. Lighting 3 Sentinels on fire, and then he repos back to safety. The rest of my list is pretty self-explanatory. I've got my Fane Knight Guardian over here to shield guard for Anastasia for my Arcanist. All my solos are set up to get to flags. This Arcanist is set up to get to that flag. Fane Knight Guardian can run over to this flag right here. This Arcanist can run over to this flag right there. And then I've got these 2 as reinforcement solos. I am set up to start scoring this game if I get the opportunity and if his Cloud Wall, as predicted, just slowly advances 3 inches. And that's more or less what happens. Neither of us have gone heavy on clock yet. He builds a really thick Cloud Wall and gets his stuff forward, and he lit on fire about 3 Sentinels. And he does not ambush Anastasia because he's like, ah, you're going to forget eventually. Oh, I want to go back a turn. I want to talk about his Cloud Wall techniques and that I like them. One thing that is hard with Cloud Walls is doing it on time because your trenchers are going to be in the front of your army. Well, if you're doing a trencher Cloud Wall, they're going to be in the front of your army. They have to activate last, otherwise you can't shoot through your own clouds. So that means there has to be room for things to get through. Like Ragman here needs to get out of the way. Toro needs to be able to go through there, but he left room. He left gaps in his Cloud Wall that his stuff can get around because of how he has his trenchers bunched up here and bunched up here and bunched up over here so that there's access ways for his units to go through. And then next turn, he can still get to where he needs to be for those clouds. And that is the way to do Cloud Wall. Because if you repo all of your dudes back, perfectly back, and make a line with your dudes, you're screwing yourself next turn. If I see a Cloud Wall opponent do that, my plan is basically just to run my army right in front of out of threat range of the guys back here being able to stand and shoot or charge or whatever. And he no longer can Cloud Wall because these trenchers are all in the way and either have to die or it just causes a lot of issues, so to speak, if they're not repositioned correctly. And I wanted to draw attention to that. And that this here, he now, because of how he had to do his Cloud Wall, he's a little bit gummed up right here, and he's a little bit gummed up right here, but he still has his access ways right there and his access way right here. And that's the trencher life right there. Whew, okay. Just did a lot of talking. His turn. Oh yeah, this was the end of his turn. So my turn. I got to bring down that Cloud Wall. Basic plan. These guys are going to walk up here. They're probably not going to live after this turn, so they're going to pop mini feet, and they're going to shoot Eilish, and they're going to shoot some solos, and they're going to shoot trenchers, and then they're going to repo to be annoying. That goes according to plan. I kill Eilish, I kill the 2 trenchers, and I leave this dude knocked down. Then Hypnos, it's time to throw away his life because I got to bring down this trencher. I got to bring down this trencher Cloud Wall. And then if I bring down the trencher Cloud Wall and score a lot of points, since nothing is within 4, the Cloud Wall can only move so fast. I'll score this. I'll score this. I'll contest this zone with a Sentinel to force Vengeance. I'll score this, and I'll go up 3 points. Shoot down Eilish. Boom. game plan. So yeah, Hypnos comes over here. I put an AoE into this guy right here. I kill like 3-ish trenchers and don't do any damage to Ragman. Boost all the blast damage except for on Ragman. Trenchers, surprisingly, I mean, it's our decision. Ragman is scoring solo who has Death Field, or a trencher that can make another cloud. I go for the trencher because I want less clouds. It's successful. With that condition met, I then take my entire army and I funnel it into this and put my Trident right here to project some threat. I use the wall, not for cover because it doesn't give me cover, but I use it to block landing places for Storm Lances. Since if he tosses Quicken on those guys, I mean, 13 away, pretty much no matter what, he's getting to me. And then Arcanist that I set up runs to there. Other Arcanist that I set up over here is going to run over to that flag. This guy's dead, and Ossyan is scoring this zone. And then next turn, I want to do the same thing for scoring. So I set up my Artificer to be 10 away from this flag. And I set up my Sentinel Scyir to be 10 away from this flag. So that after they kill those two Arcanists, I can meaningfully score those zones again. And that's just in case he decides to continue with the Cloud Wall strategy. Which if he does, I'm going to be able to kill whatever comes and kills Hypnos. So here we go. Boom, looked good, right? I got what I wanted. I'm tearing down the Cloud Wall. I'm shooting around the side of it over here. These Invictors are facing this way because of Anastasia. And Ossyan's pretty safe where he is. Feeling pretty good. Also, this guy is within 4, hoping that he just doesn't have the resources to deal with him. And these guys are also within 4, hoping he doesn't have the resources to deal with this flag over here. Since his resources either have to go this way or they have to go that way, I'm hoping I can deny one of them. Just a hope. I think he can do it, but just a hope. Yeah. So his turn. He's like, well, I'm sick of this Cloud Wall. My clock is starting to wear down a little. Well, my clock wore down, but he's ready. He's ready to kick things up. This scene that I just went up 3-0. First thing he does is he starts shooting at Hypnos with the... he popped Ashlynn feet with the Thunderbolt crit knockdown guns. I think he actually has to push me back. Oh, no, that's what he did. Okay, so he would roll his dice, and Ashlynn's feat is choose any of the dice. So if there wasn't a crit, he would choose the dice that made it miss Hypnos, so that way he wouldn't have to Thunderbolt back Hypnos back. Then he did eventually get the crit hit. I shield guarded to Mr. Fane Knight Guardian. Then he rolled the next crit hit, and he pushed Hypnos 3 inches back, but Hypnos was knocked down because Hypnos has admonition on him and would have gone somewhere annoying if I hadn't, if he hadn't knocked him down. Then he shoots Mr. Sentinel to death. He pops feet. He bunches his whole army up, and I did not pop my mini feet with Sentinels because I'm greedy. And he starts throwing nets at the Sentinels. None of them drift on the Sentinels. Thank goodness. The Freebooters come over here and start throwing Hypnos into the wall and throwing him into the wall and kill Hypnos. They throw him into the wall with chain attack, grab and smash. Hypnos is knocked down, so with 4 dice, drop the 2. He's just not going to miss unless you roll 4 ones. And then he's just continuing to throw Hypnos into the wall, and that eventually kills him. And shoots down the Arcanist, and the Storm Lances charge into the Trident. Only 3 have actual charges, though. And here we are. He has not ambushed Anastasia either. So, he scored 2. He scored this flag right here, and he scored this zone. Because of this guy right here, unfortunately didn't work out. The Fane Knight Guardian did live. Mission accomplished, and I was able to contest that zone, making the score 3-2 on my turn. I would like to hope that I could score 4 points here. There's just too many things that have to die that I don't think I have the tools to get rid of. With Anastasia's feet up. Oh, and these Sentinels got distracted, so they're -2 mat, which is horrible for me going into an Ashlynn feat. Distraction is actually a pretty dang good spell. It works against warrior models. It -2 defense, -2 to attack rolls, and you can't make ranged attacks. So landing on the Sentinels, making them mat 5 instead of mat 7, pretty dang good under an already devastating Ashlynn feat that I'm going to have a really hard time avoiding. So, plan for this turn. Harpies, sacrifice movement, and, well, Ossyan walks over here first, and this is so I can catch this Stormlance in range, as well as all these jacks, and I'm out of threat range of a quickened Toro, which is the plan. And then Harpy starts sacrificing movement, future sighting, and pushing away these freebooters and doing damage on them. Also, Ossyan shot this freebooter right here and dropped his defense by 2 and speed by 2. He also put up admonition on himself because, well, I hoping to not die to some bullcrap or something. But yeah, Harpy starts pushing the freebooters back and out of zones. This other Harpy, or all the Sentinels vengeanced out of the trench. Other Harpy walks up to right about here and finishes off one of the freebooters and pushes the other freebooter back and does good damage. These Invictors come around the side of the house. Officer sacrifices movement, shoots defense 15. What's her butt? Blythe and Bull. And then these guys shoot all of them to death. This trencher over here toughs and is within 4, but I did kill Blythe, or Bull, did kill Dannon, and did kill Gibbs. So that's pretty sweet. Artificer then walks over to here. Nothing else is in range of this trencher, and puts a Magno Bolt into the trencher, killing it. And was just out of Ashlynn's feet range because you can miss. You can get double ones when you're doing 4 dice, drop whichever 2 you want, and just miss a knockdown dude. That can totally happen and screw the attack up. So Artificer went right there. Sentinels go in, and movement was crippled on this freebooter. They start messing up the freebooter. But I gotta. This is my big mistake right here. When the Sentinels charge into the freebooter, I planned on running one of my Sentinels to right here to contest this zone and make it so the Toros can't countercharge. That was supposed to happen first. Instead, I sent a Sentinel over here to charge the freebooter. Toro's like, yes! Guys, I'm going to do this! And charges behind the freebooter and is now within threat range of getting to Ossyan. And I'm like, oh, crap. That's bad. I messed that up. So then with my other Sentinel charges, I'm like, okay, what's going to kill Ossyan? I have Admo on Ossyan. That can save him from the freebooter, or from the countercharging Toro. Need to make sure to kill this freebooter so it doesn't clear things out of the way. And then I need to jam the heck out of all these Devil Dogs and these Stormlances and make sure to kill the Stormlances, because that's actually what will kill Ossyan with the nets. And so under Ashlynn feet, I don't get a whole lot of work done, but surprise, surprise, I do happen to kill the no movement freebooter. Woot! And I do also kill this Stormlance. I pop mini feet and I get in their face. So that part of the mission was accomplished. I have my buy next to turn. Trident comes over and just starts blowing down Stormlances. I think he kills 2 or 3. Invictors walk over to here and they just finish off. Sorry, the Invictors did this before the Sentinels went, because I was hoping to not have to put Sentinel charges into freebooter, and they shoot up the freebooters a whole bunch, killing this one and finishing off, or damaging that one a whole bunch, and then they just shoot random models. And yeah, so I'm at this situation now where I have Sentinel Scyir, and I also ran a flag to be in the way, to block the way. I need to stop. Sentinel Scyir is like one of my last pieces that I can move that's survivable, that I can stop the assassination run of this Toro up here getting to Ossyan. So I think about it some, and I think rather than putting Scyir in front of the Toro, I want to put Scyir on the landing spots with 2-inch reach of where all the Devil Dogs can go. Because with everything tied down over here, he's going to be hard to remove. And I try and think what will be most effective. for where to place him, and that's where I decided to put him, is in a spot where he makes it so just Devil Dogs don't have anywhere to stand to throw their nets at the Artificer or Ossyan over here. And we have also, in this process, Fane Guardian went over there to that flag, so I am scoring this, and I'm scoring this flag, and I contested that with the Sentinel, so I go up 5-2. His clock was at 16 minutes after all this, because there was a lot of figuring out to do. My clock also similarly drops down to 13 minutes, because there was a lot of details. I wanted to set myself up to win this game on scenario, and I feel like I did. I have stayed true to my win condition of scenario and clock, and I'm at a spot now where I'm enough ahead on scenario, and I have okay attrition, and time is running out, that I can just start slapping clock, scoring points, and go to turn 7 and win on clock, or win on either clock or win on scenario. Whew. So he's looking at this, and he agrees with me. Assassination. That's the way to go. Otherwise, he doesn't really have a way to deal with the Trident. He doesn't really have great ways of dealing with a lot of my stuff besides jamming. And I'm not really under pressure besides contesting him to do a whole lot besides slapping clock and making things really difficult for him for getting work done. So Ashlynn comes up. Toro gets fully loaded. Flashing Blades kills off these Sentinels. Then Trenchers start charging and killing off Sentinels. And getting out of the way. And then that's kind of where we're at. He figures out he can get one Devil Dog around Sentinel Scyir and throws a net. It's gonna miss, and it needs a distance of 2, and it also needs to pretty much get right on Ossyan. He gets the drift he wants, and it lands right on Ossyan, and Ossyan is knocked down, cannot admonition away. And then he's like, well, crap, now I've got a guy blocking the Toro charge onto Ossyan. So one of his other slug gunners like, ha, I'll take care of that. And he shoots his own dude to death. Yep, so that was the thing. Also, I popped feet last time. Last turn, I forgot to mention that. So that I could kill a lot of things with guns, which was cool. But yeah, so then it's pretty much as you would expect. There's a knockdown, not able to admonition Ossyan. Toro charges and pretty much puts Ossyan into the dirt with 2 of its 3 attacks. Sorry. So yeah, Ossyan died. Kind of sad. I felt really good about the way that game was going. He didn't need to be within 14 of this Stormlance, even if that Stormlance did live. It'd just be meh. I mean, I guess I was just a little bit too greedy. I really was safe where I was at, except for the freaking, because otherwise he's not gonna get it. There's not an assassination run except for that Toro. He can shoot at me with military rifles with the Trenchers if he can somehow unjam all those immune to knockdown, Iron Zealed, Armor 20 Sentinels. I mean, he could distraction Ossyan, drop his defense down to 13, but then my feet's up, so he's rolling 1 dice POW 11s. It's not going to get there. Just not going to get there. So if he had failed this assassination run, Toro would be, because he took shots at me. Also, these guys had a Black Penny and shoot Sentinels. That was one of the other ways he took care of them. These guys were not able to shoot Fane Guardian to death. He lived on like 2 boxes. So Fane Guardian, unless he gets something over there to score that flag, I am just going to slap clock and win. Because, yeah, we'll tie and I'll be up 3 points. and then I can score my zone and score that flag and contest his zone in these flags and go up the 2 points I need to close out the game. And that is how that would pretty much have gone, even if Toro had come over here to do that. Harpy was just gonna walk over to here. Harpies were gonna walk over here and control Toro for the rest of the game by pushing him off the board. And then Invictors and Trident could just start doing what Invictors and Tridents do and shoot the crap out of everything else. So I felt really good if that assassination run didn't come through. This playing into the cloud wall is difficult. Luckily, I've played a lot against my brother, who's a Cygnar player that has played a lot of Trencher cloud walls, and I know their speed limitations, and I know the pressures you can put on them, and kind of how to work down the cloud wall. I also know that Trenchers don't suffer blast damage after they make clouds. That is a tool that can be randomly used. You can run a guy up into the cloud and then just start throwing AoEs at them and have them randomly drift on Trenchers and pull down the cloud wall. So, great game. Let me know what you guys think. Thank you for watching.